Okay, moving on. As I said before, nutrition plays a part in mental development as well as physical development and all these factors. So you put those three factors together and you'll notice that the minority groups of nations suffer in those three areas. So it stands to reason that people would think that their intelligence levels aren't all that good. But if you see how their society works, even if you decide, look how primitive, like let's say the Amazon rainforest, look how primitive they are. They don't have technology, they don't have, you know, computers and buildings and all that. But if you look at the way their society runs, it's complex. Stupid people cannot put together complex society structures, and they make them work. Okay? It's different, and yet the technology is not there, but it doesn't mean they're any less sophisticated. Now, and I'm not saying that you're saying that they're unsophisticated. I'm just trying to prove a point. That you cannot go by these factors to prove that human beings are stupid. Race, I'm sorry, and you're probably going to disagree with me on this, but race ultimately is a negligible thing in determining differences between human beings. It really doesn't play that much of a part. I can use myself as an example. My parents are highly intelligent. They're straight off the boat from Haiti. Okay? Straight off the island. They're highly intelligent. But they're from African stock. And for all those, you know, especially when you start looking at when this whole racial bullshit really started to come apart, when they're trying to make a crappy science out of it during the Renaissance era and so on and so forth, and they're trying, you know, go into this. You know, it's garbage. If the Africans were really that freaking stupid, how did they come up with the complex societies that they did? Okay? Why are my parents, who are Haitian, and Haitians are pretty close to Africans, because there's been some interracial mixing, but not all that much. Particularly especially the rural areas. You know, but my parents are from there. Intelligent people. Higher intelligence than others around them, including white people in this country. And I'm pretty sure I'm intelligent. Last time I checked, and people have told me I am. I've noticed that I've been a bit more intelligent than my peers, and even among other black people, I've noticed that my intelligence level is higher. But I've also noticed that my parents really cared about my development and worked hard. I mean, my mom got me reading before I even went to school. My father constantly taught me how to question everything I read, and constantly taught me critical thinking. They put me into Catholic school instead of public school. Not that Catholic school is all that much better, but it is generally better than public school. They put me in a specialized high school. They used to check my lessons and make sure, you know, they were checking up on me at night to say, did you learn this? Did you learn that? Did you need help in this? You know, they were part of my development. So that played a factor, you know, and plus being in a caring family environment, that also played a factor. And these cultural type of things, unfortunately, a lot of minority families, especially poorer families that don't have really good cultural structure, or, you know, for whatever reason, the structure is not there to develop on to pass on to their own children, and these things get broken down, plays a part. So, yeah, I don't want to harp on that too much because I want to get to the main reason, the main thing. The main problem I have, again, besides the fact that bringing up IQ and race and all this thing, or intelligence and race, and trying to show that race has certain biological factors in terms of how you behave or how you function, not only is it bullshit, but it's going to get you in trouble when you state it, even if you don't mean anything negative by it. Like, if you're just simply bringing this up because you're simply saying, like, look, this is what I've researched and this is what it's pointing at. First of all, it's BS, but second of all, this is the sort of shit that, you know, racists use to justify why they're racist to begin with. So you can't, I mean, if you're going to say this stuff, then even if you are not supporting these type of racist ideologies, you're going to get in trouble anyway. If I brought this shit up, I'd get in trouble because of how people are going to react to it. There is just some things that, even if they're completely true, and in this case I don't think it's true, but there are certain things that I personally, you know, have looked at and read that I'm like, man, this is probably true, that I'm never going to say on YouTube. Ever. Because I know I'm going to get a whole lot of heat that I really don't need. Okay? I don't know if you want to talk about it later on, or anyone else wants to talk about it later, but yeah. I mean, there's certain shit that sometimes you read it and it's just for your own goddamn development. Of course, it's up to you to find out if it's bullshit or not. And there's things out there that you might think is true, but later on you find it's bullshit. But the point is, this is inflammatory shit. And some people simply are not going to separate it from what it's helped to support. So, to be surprised that people are going to be reacting this way is kind of silly to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've suffered flack from it before, and you're going to suffer flack from it again. And no matter how much you're going to try to say that, but I've never said, but I haven't supported, yeah, I said that before, but that's in the past, I don't believe that shit anymore. Well, yeah, okay, but you're still bringing up shit that's going to bring back those type of things and going to immediately stick you back to that label, whether you want it or not, the racist label. And again, these type of things, and I noticed you also in one of the videos, you're basically talking about how, white nationalists and hate groups really shouldn't be taking too much flack because ultimately they don't do nearly as much damage that the state does. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't really beat the state when it comes to crime. Even like Taoism and Eastern philosophy, which I really love following, they even talk about how the biggest criminal tends to also be the biggest hero. Like, all a ruler is just the best thief around. So even back then they knew this shit. But here's my problem, okay? Yes, if you really want to be a defender of humanity, which that was a good point you brought up about, like, if you're against racism, what you really are against is human suffering, and you are about humanity, and you should try to focus on that. Yeah, that's true, but if on the same token you're saying that hate groups and nationalist groups should be, and I don't think you really said this, but it's kind of like somewhat implied that, okay, don't focus too much on these guys, you should just focus on the state. The problem is, these guys are tools of the state. Now you might be saying, how are they tools of the state? Like, race nationalists, and I'm saying race nationalists on purpose, not just white nationalists, any nationalist group that's going to go by race, they're tools of the man. And this is what I mean by it. Divide and conquer has always been one of the best tools around in order to stay in power. As long as you keep the peasants squabbling amongst themselves for whatever stupid reason, they can't unite to overthrow your ass. The rulers are always in a minority. If the people below say, we don't need to take this shit, and rose up, there's no way in hell they're going to be able to win, the ruling classes. There's too little of them. I don't care how many bombs and guns or whatever they got. They got to go to sleep at night sometime. And not everyone in their army is necessarily going to be on their side. And if you bomb everybody, then who the hell are you going to rule? Who's going to do your work for you? So there's strength in numbers, and they know this. So by constantly having you guys squabble against each other, they'll make sure you can't win. Race nationalist groups play into this. They don't realize that they're tools of the system. Because, alright, let me give you a perfect example. White nationalist group. Automatically you're going to label them as, well, white nationalists, which means they only care about white people. And let's be honest, there's quite a few racists in these groups. You're not going to find a lot of them who are just simply going to go, no, I don't hate other races, just that I prefer. And even that statement itself, I just prefer to be within my own kind. Okay, then why? If you keep asking why, sooner or later you're going to end up with some type of bullshit, ignorant belief of other races that's unfounded. Racism pretty much is just ignorance of humanity. That's all it is. And then just trying to justify that ignorance and making a system out of it. Blacks do it, Chinese do it, a whole bunch of other people do it. They think that their race somehow is better than the other races. Now, yeah, maybe it's simply because they've been around it themselves for so long that if they see someone else strange and any negative behavior, they instantly going to type them, but it's still ignorance of the fact that it's just another human being. Now, you have a group of people who are linked to racism, okay, for their ideologies, even if it is totally justified, okay? Let's just for the sake of argument, say that. But then, the state, the powers that be, can look at them, like, let's say white nationalists, a lot of them are anarchists, okay? And anarchy, of course, is against the state. All the state has to do is go, you see these crazy racist MFs? Look at what they're trying to do. Now, all the other peasants looking at this group will be happy to fight on the side of the state against these people if they try to rise up. Yeah, fuck these guys. They're going to try to kill us. They're trying to do this. They're trying to undermine us. They're trying to squash us down. They think that we're less than human. We ain't going to get anywhere. So they're playing into the hands of the state by uniting under a bullshit premise. Why can't these groups just simply say, no, we are uniting as the oppressed against the oppressor? They'd gain more ground. which is my whole argument to begin with. You know, and uniting on ignorance-based ideologies are not going to get you anywhere, especially if they're used to separate you from other people who are being oppressed by the same people that are oppressing you. And when you bring up info that these groups use to support their bullshit ideologies, you're going to get tied to it whether or not you like to. That's why you're getting all this flack. Okay? I think I kind of got off a little bit off track of what I really tried to bring up, but I think you kind of get the point of my disagreements with you on that. If you want to comment, go right ahead.